Hello, welcome to another episode of Generally Speaking. I'm your host, Bill Lawrence. Today is Saturday, October 18th, 2025. I'm going to go through everything here quick. With short commentary, I'm just going to blast all these interesting points of observation. Number one, Australia blocks Candace Owens from entering. I guess they don't like Candace Owens. All right, done. Next topic. Amy Coney Barrett. She made a comment that what happens if Trump just decides to ignore the Supreme Court like he has already ignored several courts? She says, well, ultimately, the court has no power of the purse or the sword. In other words, courts can't do anything. Next topic. Congress needs to pass sweeping new laws to check the executive. All right, that's my comment. I think we need a lot of changes now. Trump has shown us that so many things need to be changed. With the laws, with the Constitution, and referring to the executive in particular. All right, next thing. Courts block the deployment of the National Guard in Illinois, although the troops can stay in their barracks. They just can't go out and run around anymore. Uh, Another comment on my part, we need to change the laws about when the executive commandeers the National Guard, that they can't commandeer them from one state to go to another state. And I still got such issues with Texas. If I was somebody in Chicago, if I was in Illinois, I'd be very upset with Texas for telling Trump, sure, take our troops to Chicago, no problem. I would have a really big issue with that. Next. From this website, Really American, with a fellow named Chip Franklin. He was talking about a PAC, political action committee. Those are these groups that contribute money to candidates that they like. And there are tons of political action committees. This one is the Conservative Public Political Action Committee, also known as CPAC. They're one of the very big biggies, and they're for the GOPs. And so this was one person who was standing up giving a speech in front of one of those. And here were the words that came out of his mouth. Welcome to the end of democracy. We are here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th. We're going to replace it with this. And he grabs a Christian cross around his neck. We're going to throw out democracy. It's going to be a Christian nationalist country. All right. Just the kind of people that the Republicans run with. All right. What else? Just a little something from Britain. We came from Britain. They're like our parents. All right. So over there, they've got Trump kind of people, just like we do. In fact, so many countries have Trumpish kind of people. But in Britain, their Trump person is now Keir Starmer. He's the prime minister, and a right wing, person just like Trump. And his party, his government had established a proscription, means no good, against a group called Palestine Action. And he said they were a terrorist organization. And everybody knows they're not a terrorist organization. They might chain themselves to a fence in front of an arms company that sends weapons to Israel, but not a terrorist organization. Civil disobedience. Any rate, hundreds of people have been arrested being outraged at what he did with them and protesting. The little old ladies in wheelchairs holding up a sign, I support Palestine action, and they get arrested as terrorists with penalties that can go up to 20 years for just holding this sign. And it's such obvious BS. It's like when in this company, they say if you're pro-Palestine that you're anti-Semitic. They just figure they'll just make stuff up and run with it and say, now we can accuse you of being anti-Semitic or terrorist. They love throwing that around. Now, if you're saying anything against the government, you're Antifa and you're a terrorist. So Keir Starmer said the Palestine Action, his government said the Palestine Action is a terrorist organization, and it's being challenged and being brought to court. And like everything that has to be challenged and go to courts, you run a lot of gauntlets. This T has to be crossed. That I has to be dotted. This has to be filled out 60 seconds after you filled out this one. This has to be brought before this person and stamped 38 times. And then you have to spin around in a circle and then bring it to this next person. Million different things. Well, this has gone through every hurdle up to the last part that you can possibly go, where someone gets to now say whether that was a legitimate thing to do in the first place. And it's really being very embarrassing to Keir Starmer and his government. And in fact, his government, by the way, is really slipping in the polls now, being taken over by a party called the Green Party, which we all know the Green Party. They're all about climate change and saving the environment. And the Green Party had been down to like point nothing of part of the share of anybody voting for them, and now they're just rising up to the top. They're overtaking the Labor Party, which Keir Starmer is a part of. Which Labor, by the way, we think of the common working schmoo, the blue collar person, and they've been so far removed from that kind of effort forever that now they're just a big business company called Labor. Next subject: investors in the United Health Company, because it's a business, right? Investors, buy stocks and become people interested in how the company's profits are going. They sued United Health, which, by the way, United Health has been cited as one of the worst providers out there in terms of say you broke your arm, the doctor says yes, it needed to be put in a cast, and I did. I put it in a cast, and then United Healthcare will say, "No, we don't think that. Our AI said you didn't really need that, and so request denied. You have to pay for it out of your pocket." United Healthcare has the most denials. So, at any rate, after that, Louis Mangione shot the executive. They've been a little bit more hesitant to deny cases. They sort of been a little more correct in their analysis. Well, you know what? The investors were upset about that. They didn't like that they changed course and started, accepting more claims. They sued them because they were accepting more claims. The evil, the mean heartedness of some people. Right. Next subject. This comes from a fella named Mahmoud Mahmoud OD. I wish I knew what that OD was about, but he reports on the Middle East things, especially with Israel and Gaza. And he was talking about the ceasefire, which is present now, which is not really a ceasefire. In fact, the old expression is in these ceasefires, the Palestinians cease and the Israelis fire. So while this has been a ceasefire, the Israelis are still attacking people. They're still shooting people. It's really horrible what they do, and we support it. You just think, well, a conflict over there. They're shooting people. They're just shooting kids, women and children, just shooting them. And look, let's not forget our country. What our country just did to fishermen in the Caribbean, they just blew them up. This was murder. This is what our country just did. They just murdered people in fishing boats. Okay, so any rate, so the Gaza ceasefire, while the Israelis are still, shooting at people, and not just in Gaza. You got the other side of Israel, the West Bank, which there are also Palestinians. They attack them there, even though Hamas isn't there. They attack them there also. And so that's still going on. But something new development, something called an international security force comprised of Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar. These people are going to go in and I guess help keep the peace. And the Israelis are going to, back out, move out, and the international security force will be there, and hopefully there'll be less shooting of the Palestinians. Next thing, a site from Park Rose Permaculture, and if you made it this far, thank you so much. Could you please hit a like and a subscribe and a notify bell? Even make a comment. I would like to hear from somebody, even anything, even if you hated it. Just like to see somebody comment. All right. So, at any rate, Park Rose Permaculture, young lady, was talking about another nice thing that the Trump administration has done is cutting funding for food banks because people Americans are too fat, and these people going to the food banks, they need to trim it down a little bit, just like the generals and the soldiers that are overweight, and so they're cutting back the funding for the food banks. Come Thanksgiving time, we don't want those people eating, too much turkey or peanut butter and jelly or rice and beans or anything for that matter. Maybe they can watch where the squirrels buried their whatever squirrels bury and get some of that. All right, this is from another guy, Hawk Podcast. He was talking about the ICE field director in Chicago. He was ordered by a federal judge to appear before her on Monday because of the atrocious behavior of the people under his command. And what did he do? He fled. He went to D.C. So, I'm out of here. I just remembered I've got a hair appointment. I've got a nails. I got to get my nails done. I've got an ingrown hangnail here. It's really serious. Ow. And sorry, I can't go to your court appearance. I'm out of here. So that's what he did. He took off. And another thing that this woman did was seeing the havoc that these agents are creating, has now commanded that they will now have to wear body cams, just to so that we have evidence of what they're doing. Uh, and so that's good. That's good. All right. Next subject, a young lady named Cori Bush. She's running for some position. She's saying, "Screw IPAC." So this is becoming the new flashpoint. Do you subscribe to IPAC? APAC? IPAC? APAC? Well, all right. See, American Israeli Political Action Committee, and they're the ones that are paying everybody to love Israel and vote for arms sales to Israel, and vote for anything that's positive to Israel and vote against anything that isn't. Plus, if you look like someone who speaks out against Israel, they'll mount political campaigns against you by sending millions and millions of dollars to your opponent. And so a couple of people have lost their seats because of what APAC has done. So, at any rate, Cori Bush, a person to support if you want to support anybody for her election. Now, I think it's a big mark if you're saying, I will not be some blind follower of APAC. I will not take any of their money. But I mean, there's still a lot of things in politics that you can decide you're in favor of, which you as a voter, and me myself, I might be against. You could be Trumper all the way and still say I'm not going to take APAC money, and so that isn't good. But I think it's a big sign. Oh, for instance, let's take Marjorie Taylor Greene for one. She has now come out against APAC, wants them to be registered as a foreign agent lobby, which they should. So I mean, there you go. Marjorie Taylor Greene, not somebody I would trust really with a 10-foot pole, but she's actually coming out with some good sides that a Democrat would like. But I still don't trust her. No telling when she's going to come out with her crazy stuff. Another person in the news about APAC is a fellow named Seth Moulton, Mou, however you pronounce that, Moulton. He said he's going to return his APAC money, and this was like some hundreds of thousands. That's a man who is a good custodian of his funding. If he was able to get this money and didn't just instantly spend it on 2 yachts or something, that he has it, that he can just give it back, and he won't accept it anymore. Well, now there's a person I would want to support and contribute to. APAC needs to be registered as a foreign lobby. All right, this is my new format. Went through things quickity quick, and I think this is all good stuff. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you come looking for me again. If you hit that notify button, I'm likely to pop up. Today was the No King's Day. I was out there for a while in my town of Concord, North Carolina. It was a beautiful day. It was nice seeing the cars go by honking. Of course, some didn't honk. Some people drove by with giving everybody the finger. And it's a free country, right? Free speech. That's what we love to have. And so that's that. You all take care.